friends, somebody please tell me that time number 5 is a charm, because I've already tried to start this thing and do this thing like 5 different times, 4, and this is my 5th time. So it is going to be about your upper back and shoulders and trying to get in there and strengthen it. Mainly these are going to be strengthening, but we'll do a couple of things that stretch and open. The beauty about yoga is we often simultaneously stretch and strengthen, right? Let's start by bringing awareness into our feetsies. So you're standing. If you're not, please do. Close the eyes, just let the arms just drape down, and you're not trying to do anything with the arms right now. And as a matter of fact, before you get too attentive in the feet, just notice what your tendency is before you try to correct it, especially for those of you who do yoga classes on a regular basis. I think we immediately come in and we're like, this is Tadasana, right? So what happens if you just like bend the knees a little bit, you get a little bit sloppy and soft in your body, and then without trying to come into Tadasana, just start to straighten your knees a little bit and just notice, right? If you have a little more weight in your left foot than your right, does the weight go into the ball mounds of the big toes? Does it go into the heels, the pinky edge of the feet? Is it different from one side to the other? And again, try not to correct it. I think that's not always a great thing. I think often we should pause, notice what the tendency is, what the pattern that presents itself is, and then, move from that place, because then we can move the way we need to no matter what the teacher says. Right? So I could say put more weight in the heels, but if you were someone and you noticed all your weight was in your heels, maybe you need to put a little in the ball mounds of your feet. Can you start to distribute that weight evenly between the ball mound of the big toe, the ball mound of the pinky toe, and the very center of your heels? So if you were on 2 tripods, yeah? And if you were a little bit leaning to the left, you would bring a little more weight into the right foot maybe, and vice versa. Take a moment and feel that energy moving from the earth up into your feet. And that root to rise principle, the more you root down into the floor, the more that energy starts to come up and help you get a little bit taller. And my people who are overachievers and eager beavers, I'll remind you not to go too crazy with this, but actually what I'm running to in my own body, right, and myself right now, and what other people might be feeling too, is a little bit of that kind of down quality and that lethargy, what we would call kapha in Ayurveda. And so you might need to push down a little bit more and bring a little more energy. Again, how can you individualize this stuff so it's made for you, so it's not so general? Go ahead and open the eyes. Okay, so the very first thing you're going to do is we're going to talk just a little bit about internal rotation and external rotation. If you look down at either arm, doesn't matter which one, I want you to go ahead and I want you to try to turn your palms behind you and turn your thumbs down or in towards your hips, and maybe even turn them towards the back wall. And when you do that, I want you to notice how your shoulders roll forward. This is what's called internal rotation, right? So the humerus bone is internally rotating and the shoulders round forward. Now go ahead and turn the thumbs to the front of the room, turn them all the way up to the sides and back towards the back. It doesn't really matter where your thumbs get to, that's not the point, right? But as those thumbs roll back, notice how you're moving that humerus bone into what's called external rotation, and those shoulders start to open, the chest starts to broaden. Now some of my friends, we take that too far. I'm sometimes in that school too, and we're like, and we close our entire back body down. So where is it that you need to be to find expanse across your collarbone, but equally expanse across the upper back? So you're finding an expression of space on both sides of the body as you stand nice and tall, right? Try to work from that place as we move forward. Bring your hands up and bring your elbows into your side. My hands are the height of my elbows, my palms are turned up. If I could put a cup of coffee, steaming hot coffee in both of your hands, I would. No, I would never would, because I don't want you to hurt yourself. But I want you to visualize that you have coffee in the hands and you don't want that coffee to spill, right? You're going to keep the elbows into the body, and then you're going to go ahead and you're going to serve friends on either side of you that coffee as far as you can. You don't have to look like me. Go ahead and bring that forward. You might go not as far, you might go further. Doesn't matter. Take your range of motion. Go ahead and start to work those thumbs back or those coffees out to your friends. Feel that hugging, we'll call it, bringing that in between your shoulder blades. So this is just reminding the the upper traps, a little bit the rhomboids. It's a little more complicated than that, but we'll say those two main muscles are just being reminded to work right now, right? Are you breathing? Let's have breath. Inhaling out. Try not to flare the ribs. Try to keep the back waist long. Exhaling forward. 2 more. Inhale. Go ahead and serve that coffee, or I could say reach your thumbs back if that works better for you. And exhale. Last one. Inhale. This time we're going to leave the arms out. Try to keep those shoulder blades and bring the arms down by the side. Now from that place, keeping that hugging in the mid-trapezius, right? You're going to inhale and you're going to start to lift those arms up, just to shoulder height. Pause. Now reach more from fingertip to fingertip out away from you and just try to lengthen across the biceps as much as you can. Try to keep your upper arm bone exactly where it is, what's called external rotation, but turn your palm down. That happens at the forearm, called pronation. If you don't like anatomy, don't worry about it. And then go ahead and flex your wrists and push your palms into imaginary walls and start to feel how that fires up that line from the bottom, the front side of your wrist, I could say, all the way up towards your armpits potentially. It just depends on your body, what you're feeling, right? And then from there, go ahead and release that. Reach the fingertips out, turn the palms up, soften the shoulders down, find all that space, those ribs, right? Don't let them flare. And then inhale, reach the arms up until you're about shoulder distance. Shoulder injuries, this class might not be the one for you. Some of it is, but some of it's not, so be aware of that, and you might just be wider, right? You might be wider even if you don't have an injury and you're just feeling sensitive or tight. Now, you're going to turn your palms forward, take an inhale, grab onto a high bar, right? And exhale, you're going to bring that barbell, or that bar, down to elbows about shoulder height. You might go a little lower. Now, inhale, reach up. If you want to leave that bar in your hands, you can, or you can reach the fingertips up. Exhale, rotate the palms forward, grab onto the bar, soften those shoulder blades down as you pull down on that bar. Use resistance as if there was a bar and there was actually weight. And inhale. If you want to get a little more complex with it, imagine that you're pulling your body weight up on that bar, trying to lift your body weight completely off of the floor. And inhale up. We're going to add on with the next one. Exhale, bring that bar down, pause. Now, you're going to pull out. Your hands won't move. It's resistance, right? So I'm going to pull out with my hands on that imaginary bar, and I should start to feel even a little more fire. I feel it in my triceps, and I also feel it in that area between my shoulder blades. I'm being really careful not to flare because I am a sway backer, right? So I'm keeping my back ribs up off of my back waist, and I'm still pulling that bar apart. Shoulders soft away from the ears. Take an inhale. Exhale. Whew. Go ahead and bring those down. Maybe circle those shoulders a few times. Is anybody not feeling warmth in their arms, shoulders, and or upper back at all? Oh, good. I love you. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a little stretching now. Inhale, reach those arms out and up. Your left hand's going to grab your right wrist, and you're just going to stretch over and stretch through that whole side body. Yes, you'll probably feel it here a little bit, but we're going to start to add in some side body work, right? Inhale, back up. Grab onto the left wrist and reach over to the right. And inhale, back up. Let's do that one more time. Now, when you move over, yes, the hand gets to kind of help pull, but you're not pulling the shoulder out of the socket, right? Inhale, back up. You're just lengthening. It's helping you lengthen. The shoulder stays nice and gently hugged into the socket. Bring that back up and bring those arms out and down. And again, if it feels nice to take a couple of shoulder rolls, go ahead and take a couple of shoulder rolls. Okay, we're going to do the stretch for that upper back. So first, just start by hugging yourself, left arm on top, right? And we did this in the opener that I did for the upper back. Which, by the way, if you need more opening after doing strengthening, feel free to do that one, next or tomorrow. And then maybe you get your forearms together, right? Get my braid out of the way. And so with that, today I actually want to add an element of strength to it while you're doing it. So what does that mean? So I want you to take your left elbow and push it into your right forearm. Your right forearm pushes into your left elbow, right? So the two of them are pushing together. And as they push together, it's an isometric action. Neither of them wins, right? But do you feel how that starts to add some strength into that upper back area? Take another breath from there. And let go of the pressure, and maybe those elbows lift up a little bit, maybe bring that upper back in a little bit. And go ahead and release those arms out. Right arm on top, hugging. This one, you could still push the elbows together if you can't get the wrap. I am speaking specifically to the wrap today, right? But you could always push the arms together as a substitute. Go ahead and see if you can get the wrap. And again, we're trying to add strength in today, so it's not just the stretch. So you're going to push your right elbow into your left arm into your right elbow, and as those two push into each other, for me, I feel it, not just musculature, right, but as I push it in, it's like my upper back just kind of pulls in a little bit, and I actually get taller through a more elongation, we'll call it. In anatomy, it's called spinal elongation, right? So I feel that elongation start to happen with that movement. Go ahead and take one more breath. And release that out. We have one more piece, friends, and again, it's going to be equal part stretch and strain today. So, start by interlacing your hands behind your back. If that's not available, remember, you do have straps. Well, you do. I don't know, maybe you don't have a belt or something, but you could use that. Now you're gonna go ahead and bend the elbows. When they push into the sacrum, the shoulder heads move back. My sway back friends, lift the back ribs up off the back waist. Do not exploit the low back for this. It's not worth it. And then maybe those knuckles start to reach down. Right, so I'm going to introduce an action. That is, your palms try to push together. They don't have to touch, but they push towards each other. But can your can the two upper arms pull away from each other? If I could, I'd put a belt around your upper arms, and I would ask you to push out into said belt. So if it's too complicated to push the palms together, you don't have to push the palms together, but we're going to add on to that, right? Now, some of my friends, this feels like plenty. Keep the elbows a little bit bent, bend the knees, and you might fold in. Maybe those knuckles reach up a little bit. The elbows, we're going to bend a little bit. The elbows reach towards the front of the room, whatever your front is. And again, I'm going to try and move my palms in towards each other, but I'm going to pull my upper arms apart. Take an inhale, soft neck, soft tongue, soft jaw. Release that down. Inhale, reach the chest forward. Exhale, folding in. And inhale, hands on hips, elbows up, come all the way up. Last piece, you ready? So you can do that again. This time you're not going to interlace, but rather you're going to bring your finger pads together, right? So it forces us into using more strength. So as I push my finger pads into each other and my elbows move back and in, right? I'm going to push my finger pads together, but my upper arms, they're still trying to pull apart. This might be plenty. Inhale. Maybe bend the knees. Elbows are going to bend for today's purposes. And we fold in. Fingertips push together. They might reach up to the sky a little bit. Elbows move into each other, but the upper arms pull away from each other. 2 breaths, inhale, you're almost there. Soft neck, soft tongue, soft jaw. I just caught mine. All of that stuff was holding on for me. Ooh. Bring those hands down. Inhale, reach the chest forward. Exhale, fold. If you want to inhale the arms out, come on up through a full circle. Exhaling the hands down to chest. Closing the eyes, taking a moment, feeling any sensations you have in your body in general, but we just did an awful lot with your upper back and your shoulders. If you're like, ooh, my arms, did you know that your humerus bone is considered part of your shoulder? Whoa, that's intense. Shoulder blades and your humerus are the main components of your shoulder girdle complex, right? Bone-wise. Bring those arms on down. Oh no, keep your hands together. Sorry, inhale. Let's bow our head in and take a moment there. Find something to be grateful for. I recently took a couple of classes from a guy, Nam Chanterwin, I believe is how it's pronounced, but I'm not sure. But at the end of each of his classes, he would say something. Oh my gosh. Oh, I put so much, I wrote it down, and I've been saying it to myself every day. Be grateful for what you have. The more you are grateful, here it is, I got it. The more you are grateful for what you have, the more you will have to be grateful for. And anyone who takes me on a regular basis phrases, you know, usually when we bow our head and we're grateful for at least one thing, so do that so that you have more to be grateful for. Namaste!